All right, guys. This is a big video. It's the first prediction. He's excited of the season, but I just want to make this known. This is not Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football starts next week. The bad games start next week. I want to preface that. This is the kickoff game, not Thursday Night Football. Please stop calling it that. I mean, it is that, but it's not. That's next week. Anyway, though, yeah. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Welcome back to NFL football in season. This is going to be a lot of fun. This will be a lot different, though. I'll tell you that. We're doing a lot more stuff on Thursday nights and throughout the season for predictions / previews. There will obviously be predictions for a lot of different things when we get to the end of this. I'll try to split it up as best I can. But we will first start about this Cowboys and Eagles game, then we'll get over to the college thing, which I'll get to in a minute. With that said, though, if you have not watched previous previews or predictions on this channel, I do go recommend watching the one from last year, but that's really besides the point. Our matchup today, again, is the Cowboys and Eagles. This is coming up so soon. The NFL is officially back. The NFL Kickoff 2025, preview show comes out at 7 on NBC. I'll just say that. That's, the good thing. They'll have all, the super-duper in-depth injury reports. But with that said, though, as you can see, Cowboys-Eagles, it's, again, probably the most popular rivalry in the NFL. Is it the best one? Probably not. But it is the kickoff game. Again, if you didn't know, the Super Bowl champion does host the kickoff game. Again, there's some weird instances. But other than that, this is how it works. But again, Cowboys, again, we all know they just traded Micah Parsons. They are a circus with Jerry Jones running them. Again, they haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years now. Or have been to an NFC Championship since then. That's what's going on for them. Dak is back, though. That is very underlying. He has not played since mid-season last season. So I think that is a big thing for them. Again, there's a lot of other issues we'll get to in a minute. But this Cowboys team is a circus coming into the season with a lot of question marks on top of the fact that they just traded their best player in probably the past 30 years. I don't know, something like that. Other than that, though, the Eagles, they are coming off a Super Bowl run. They, again, lost a good amount of talent. I don't think all that talent, I think a little bit overblown. They definitely dealt with some injuries this offseason, but again, the main core is still intact. They look to, again, repeat as Super Bowl champions. Howie Roseman has done a great job at, again, building the roster where it is. Jalen Hurts is being questioned. Is he actually an elite passer? He isn't. But we'll see what happens there. Other than that, though, I mean, you got Saquon coming back. Is he going to run for 2,000 yards again? Probably not, but who knows? But yeah, anyway, though, these teams haven't. I'm pulling this from ESPN research. I'm just going to say that. I got to cite that. But these two teams have not played in Week 1 since 1970. But we look at the last time the Cowboys and Eagles played. That was a game that Saquon broke 2,000 yards here at what is it called? The link. So that's what I'll say there. Other than that, though, this game will be at 8:20 p.m. It'll probably kick off around then. It's not Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football's earlier. It'll be on NBC. It's streaming on whatever cable network you have or streaming service, but it's going to be on the NBC Sports app. I don't know how that really works out, but I guess that's what it is. NFL Plus, all primetime games are on that. Peacock, and that's, again, NBC streaming service, so if you have that, you can watch it on there. Also, you do have the ability to watch it on Universo if you want to listen to it in Spanish. I don't know, but you probably turn this to Spanish. Anyway, though, outside of that, it is important to note that, again, tomorrow's game will be a little bit different. But other than that, announcing this game, as always, kickoff game, I think the past 3 years now, is Mike Tirico. He's, again, former ESPN commentator. What's his name? Chris Collinsworth. I don't know. And then we got Melissa Stark, who's on the sideline. And then got a bunch of, tools and good analysts at halftime and stuff. Whatever, though. Yeah, that's what you get for this. The weather in Philly, it's going to be not great. It's supposed to light rain, I guess. Again, you won't expect this game to be the most great. 74 degrees, though. 11-mile-per-hour winds, so again, that could affect the kicking game. Decent humidity, and again, like I said, it'll probably rain a little bit. Again, I like the updated weather, though. Outside of that, though, we look at, again, the past time these two teams played on the opening game. Cowboys played in Tampa in 2021 to kick off the season. That was a phenomenal game. They ended up losing by a couple points, but they were actually pretty good this year before, the game that Dak couldn't snap the ball. Again, they lost to the Niners in the wild card. Eagles have not played on the opener since they won the Super Bowl back in 2018. In that game, it was super ugly, but they were able to find a way to win. I think it was 18-12. With that said, though, the Cowboys starting lineup, Dak, again, is back. Quarterback Joe Milton, probably don't want to see him out there. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, maybe Jaden Blue gets a couple of carries. CD, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert, very good top three. And again, Devontae Turpin is the only other healthy receiver on this roster. Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker will probably get in there as blocker. Brevin Sanford is definitely a special teamer. Hunter Lubicki, again, is the really just a bona fide lead blocker at this point. O-line is completely healthy. Terrence Steele will be interesting to watch him against Nolan Smith. Tyler Booker and Tyler Smith are the guards. Tyler Booker, the rookie making his NFL debut, he again was picked very high at nothing, number 12. Cooper Beebe coming off a promising rookie year, and then Tyler Guyton, who's looking to, I wouldn't say bounce back, but definitely establish himself as a left tackle there. On defense is a D-line that, again, it looks a lot different than it probably should have. Their edges are, again, very suspect. Sam Williams, again, has really nothing been more than a rotational guy. Dante Fowler, again, has had flashes for, in his entire career, really. Again, he's, again, good, respected vet. Marshall Nealon not coming off the greatest year. James Houston, former Lion there, and then Donovan Zierk, who I think was a second-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. He has some pretty decent talent, but I don't really know if he's molded right now to be a consistent guy. Osa and Kenny Clark are both huge run stuffers. And Kenny Clark is a very respected defensive tackle there. I think Osa is a better player, though. Kenny Clark not coming off the greatest season. We'll see what he can do. Again, he was part of that Micah Parsons trade. Damone Clark, Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray Jr., DeMarvin Overshown is still out. He tore his ACL on Thanksgiving last year. He was put on the PUP, so again, if you're a Cowboys fan, you don't expect him to play until after that game against Green Bay. But he had an absolutely phenomenal rookie season before getting injured. It'll be interesting what he does there. Siobhan Revel Jr., I think he's also on the PUP list, if I'm not mistaken. If I can get to this. I don't know. I guess he is. Is he on the PUP list? I really don't know what's going on with Siobhan Revel. But again, he tore his ACL last year as well, so I think he's definitely still recovering from that. Again, that's definitely important to note. Again, if we can get back to this. Other than that, cornerback. Oh, we're not going there. Other than that, cornerback for the Cowboys, they have Deron Bland in the slot, who they just gave a 4-year, $90 million extension, if I'm not mistaken, to. Trayvon Diggs, not the greatest season. Again, he had tore his Achilles in 2023, but again, he's definitely going to try to look to bounce back a little bit here. Kyrie Elam has been a massive bust that, again, I hit on, to be honest. I gotta say my props there. But who knows? Maybe he revives his career. Probably not, though. Truiz Bridges, don't know who you are, bro, but you might get some time. And then Donovan Wilson, Willie Cooker, again, are the vet safeties there with Marquise Bell, probably getting a little bit as well in dime packages. Brandon Aubrey and Brian Anger are the reliable. Brandon Aubrey getting one of the best legs in football. And then we go look at Philly. This is a team that has, again, Jalen Hurts, quarterback, we all know that. Tanner McKee is out as the backup. Sam Howell will be getting in there. Again, they just traded him from, I think, Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Saquon, Will Shipley in the backfield. Saquon, I think, will definitely get a little bit of relief from Will Shipley, especially being week one. A.J. Dillon's also in this backfield. Again, top two, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are both great. Jahan Dotson hopefully gets more targets. John Mechie and him are kind of battling out there. And then I got some random Darius Cooper with Johnny Wilson on IR. Dallas Goddard, Grant Calcaterra, tight ends. Again, Dallas Goedert's the starter. Kyle Granson, he made the roster. And then Ben Fitzgerald, who's an absolute freaking truck, bro. Look out for him. Then you look at this offensive line. It is definitely a little bit in flux. But Tyler Sheen, again, after Mekhi Becton left, will start. Again, the tackles are, again, both elite. Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, same old O-line, except the fact that, like I said, Mekhi Becton leaving for Los Angeles in free agency. Anyway, for this defense, Mora Ojoma is the new guy in this D-line. Again, Jalen Carter looking to maybe get Defensive Player of the Year. Jordan Davis, a very solid defensive tackle overall. But again, Mora Ojoma taking over for Milton Williams, who I didn't think it was that great last year. But again, he's definitely have to step up to at least fill his role, at least production-wise. Nolan Smith, and then taking the starting role, Jalen Sutton, who are there very optimistic on. Azeez Ojolari coming over from the Giants. He had a pretty talented player. Then Joshua Uche, who's not really been that great the past couple of years. Zach Bond, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., starting linebacker with N'Kobe Dean on the PUP, if I'm not mistaken. Then you got Samel Mondin Jr., the rookie linebacker, as well as Jahad Campbell, who are both very fun players. They got a very young and fun linebacker. Again, Zach Bond really being the only true vet there. And then he's coming off probably the best overall performance from a defensive player in football last year. Quinyon Mitchell, really exciting second-year corner there. Adoree Jackson, again, he won the job over Kelly Ringo in the preseason. Corey Bennett also signed over from the Raiders. Cooper DeJean, again, the superstar slot, who, again, is really looking, I don't know, maybe have a crazy season, something like that. Reed Blankenship, Cindy Brown, who beat the rookie Andrew Makuba in the offseason battle for that free safety spot. Interesting to see how he does. Again, I think he's a third-year guy now. Jake Elliott's kicker, Braden Nance punter. Nothing really much changing there. And then Charlie Hewlett, again, it's long snapper. You know what's going on there. Anyway, though, something new that I'm bringing this year. We will be every single game, so it could be all 32 teams. I guess buys we'll put in boring because I mean you're not playing. But every single game I will rank as like how much like if I was gonna watch it again. This is all again opinionated here, but how much like how I want to watch it. So boring. These are the games that are like yeah they're there, but I'm not gonna really watch them. Decent. I'm like I don't know. Maybe I'll watch them in red zone. Entertaining. Like this is probably a game that'll be decent. Again, not just decent, but like you know. It'll get me to watch it. Must watch. These are games that I'm prioritized again in my head, and then games of the week again. They're gonna say game or games because it really depends on the week. But yeah, those are definitely the games you're gonna look forward to. Anyway, though, this Cowboys and Eagles game, to be honest with you guys, I'm gonna say this is an entertaining one. I don't think it's the greatest week one matchup overall. On the schedule by any means, but I think this will still be a game that'll again get you to like be engaged for sure. And again, overall, again, you just gotta like the storylines for this. Again, it's not the worst kickoff game. I understand that like I'm not the biggest fan of this matchup really whatsoever. But when it's on primetime and kind of shoves in your faces, which isn't a good thing. But I think this will actually be a better kickoff game than maybe what we've seen the past couple years. With that said, though. The prediction now, again, I guess is what we were waiting for. You'll see in the next part my explanation for this. But anyway, this is the last part for this actual preview. So again, the next part's different. Whatever though. Cowboys, Eagles. Who do I see winning this game? Again, Eagles heavily favored. Minus 425 on this one. Again, I don't really care about bets, but again, that is important to note. But for this matchup, you look at it, you're like, if the Eagles run the ball down the Cowboys' throats, which will probably happen, they're going to win this game by multiple scores. But with that said, I think Dak will come out throwing, and they're going to throw a lot in this game, and I think it'll actually work out for them. I don't love this Eagles secondary right now. I don't really, think they're the most, together right now as well. And I don't see Jalen Hurts having a great game passing either. I don't see him throwing for like 250 yards, a great passer, or anything like that. I think he will have his struggles in this one. For that reason, I think the Cowboys will try to make them throw. I think this defense is a little bit underrated despite not having the greatest pass rush. But let's be honest, guys. Against the Eagles O-line, is that really going to make a difference? With that said, though, I'm actually going to pick the Cowboys to win this one in an upset. I'm going to say they win this one 30-27, and actually a little bit of a high-scoring one. I don't love going high-scoring games for predictions, but I'm going to actually go with that in this one. And say they win on a game-winning field goal, not in the last seconds, but like towards the end of the game. And I just think Dak will play very, very well, and the Cowboys will kind of surprise some people after, doing what they did this offseason. With that said, that's all I got for you guys here. Now let's get to the college picks. And I'm not mistaken, if you didn't watch the, it was either defense or offense tier rankings, again, at the start of last week, I did give my week 1 college picks because college starts a week earlier. Don't worry about the thing on the side, the points. I'll deal with that later. But here, again, ESPN does this thing where they have 10 games that, again, they just basically, what are the 10 most competitive games of the week, and you get to pick them. So I think I went 7-3 last week, which, again, I kind of, flunked on, one of them. I think it was, the VTech one. But the other ones were, again, kind of 50-50 toss-ups with those top 10 matchups, so not the end of the world with that, but pretty decent week 1. Anyway, though, again, the confidence, just don't worry about that. Again, this is games to me, these are all the big games this week for college. Anyway, though, Iowa versus Iowa State, again, Iowa always has the jokes about the defense. Not the defense, the offense being just completely non-existent. This is big noon game, and this is a huge rivalry. I really don't see how Iowa State doesn't win this one, because, guys, look, Iowa is just, their offense is legitimately putrid this year. But for Iowa State specifically, again, you got Rocco quarterback. Your offense just looks a lot more complete. Then again, I understand you lost Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins last season, but I still think this is a team that's going to be able to put some up points. And if you put up 20 against Iowa, you're not going to lose. So I think that this is a game, I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer, but I think they're definitely going to win. All right. UConn is probably not as talented overall as they were last year. Again, if you know, I am a UConn fan. I'm really more of an Oklahoma fan, but I root for UConn. But anyway, they're playing the Cuse. Syracuse last week got absolutely blown up by Tennessee. Tennessee's a much better team than we all know that. But Syracuse is still a respectable-ish Power 4 team, and this is one of the games again UConn will have to stun Syracuse to win. I really think that UConn has a shot at winning this, but again, honestly, I really don't see it going too much better than last year. So for that reason, I'll take Syracuse, get a bounce back win there. Again, this is a game they probably should win. I think it'll definitely be a decent game, but I think they'll definitely control it for most of the way. All right. Now you move on to Illinois and Duke. Duke this year just really isn't that talented, to be honest with you guys. Illinois, again, is an absolute wagon, but it is at Duke. That does give me a little bit of a semblance to pick Duke, but I don't think that'll be the upset this week. I think Illinois, again, with Luke Altmaier, veteran overall team, I think they'll be able to pick this one up, again, in early season. All right, Baylor versus SMU. I really don't like SMU as a football team right now. I'm very skeptical about this team. Last year, they got absolutely spanked, and I mean, really spanked by, again, number 2 team in the country at this point, Penn State. That really worried me. Again, I get they have Jennings and all that, but I really think this Baylor team's decent. Last week, they kind of put up a stinker. Their defense kind of sucked. They got ran over by Auburn. Again, especially Jackson Arnold, really not doing a ton. I'm very disappointed from what I saw, but I actually think they'll bounce back this week and get a huge upset over SMU. I'm just not the biggest fan of SMU, guys. They're just not, in my opinion, just not that great of a team. All right. Virginia and NC State. Virginia has had, 4 solid players that I consider NFL caliber per team probably the past couple of years. NC State has a lot more than that. They're going to out-physical this Virginia team. Just overall, it's at NC State, bro. I'm going to pick them. Even though the offense might not be the greatest. All right, Kansas versus Missouri. This is a really fun matchup for me. Missouri, not really that great. Again, they're not a bad team. They're definitely solid for the SEC. But again, I don't see this team really winning more than maybe 7 games this season. Kansas, they're really fun to pick. They've been absolutely rolling these first 2 weeks. Again, it wasn't against the greatest opponents, admittedly. But again, this is a team, again, with Jalen Daniels in his final season now, that I really think can make an impact. I don't know if they'll make the playoff or anything like that. But again, I could definitely see them in 9 or 10 games and really ruffling some feathers. Haha. Like they were able to last year. So, again, at the end of the season. So, I actually say Kansas is going to win this one. Get out to a really good start. And, again, just really put it on Missouri in this one. All right. West Virginia versus Ohio. I'm picking West Virginia. I don't really see this as a no-brainer. Again, hashtag my action with Ohio. I think they're a respectable team, but, no, I'm not picking them. All right, game of the week, technically. We got Michigan versus Oklahoma. Michigan is a underdog coming this one, which kind of makes sense. Oklahoma has a better overall team than them, even though their defense is still really solid. But again, Bryce Underwood coming in this game is going to have a lot of pressure on him. Again, Brett Venables is not taking him lightly. Hopefully not. Again, he's going to get fired if he does. But this is the game day location. Oklahoma, you got John Mateer, you got all these transfers. Jaden, I expect to have a massive game. I'm going to say Oklahoma wins this one by 3 scores, to be honest with you guys. I expect them to completely dominate this one. Not really play. Again, late in the season, we'll see. But that's a game I expect them to win pretty handily. All right. Arizona State, if you're actually good, I don't know if you actually are. You go into Mississippi State and handle business, and I'm just going to pick them to do that, and really nothing more else to it. This is a really fun game. Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. Diego Pavia versus Kylan Jones. Kylan Jones looked absolutely awful last week. I think he's a really good quarterback, but he was absolutely awful last week against South Carolina. They really blew their chance because their defense actually played out of their minds that game against Lenore Sellers. But I really think this game is going to really come down to the turnover battle. Diego Pavia, I'm not acting like he's some crazy what is called turnover free quarterback where it just doesn't happen. But at the same time, I got to pick for Vanderbilt. I'm going to say they got a big win here. And, do some stuff. Again, I guess I'll save those. How many points would I want to say for the score of this one is? I'm going to say the Oklahoma wins 35-20. Or I guess that's 2 scores. 55 points there. Anyway, though, that is what I got for you guys for the week 2 college football picks. If you have any gripes about the Cowboys-Eagles pick or any of these picks, put them down in comments. This will be part of the Thursday Night Football previews. Again, yes, kickoff previews from now on. Enjoy the game, though. Yeah, that's what I got there. And, enjoy college football this weekend. And, see you for the South Powell game and the recap of this on Friday.
Make a stop here. The Cowboys can run it down to virtually nothing. Extra men on the rush. Pass is caught. Deflection. Touchdown. Cowboys win. Amari Cooper. His third of the game. Rasul Douglas off his left hand. And to Cooper for the win.